Hello, good morning. Welcome into another episode of Good Morning Nasdaq right here on the Clover Trading YouTube channel. My name is Dom. That is Huddie, and we are two-thirds of Clover Trading. Welcome to the channel. If this is your first time around, welcome. We talk about the biggest gappers in small cap land, give you a little temperature gauge of where we're at in small caps as a whole, talk about some news, dilution, share structure, as well as daily charts. Get you all prepped and ready to go for the open if you're interested in trading any of the biggest gappers on the day. We take some questions towards the end, so if you have any, leave them in the live chat. Get in there, get riled up, get ready for the day, and if we have time towards the end, we will answer those as well on other charts or questions that you have. We got Wayne in there right now, Rusty, it's Parker, Raz, Flo, Thomas, El Jefe. Good morning, and good morning
We
to
got Rusty
you.
in here.
We got Rusty.
Nice. What's up, Rusty?
Do you know Rusty?
No.
All right. How are you doing this morning?
We're good. We're good. Market is performing as we would expect it to perform. Yesterday felt pretty good about we kind of said that if there is any spikes, they might be short-lived just from the heaviness of the overall market. And that's kind of what we saw in the gappers. They spiked for like the first 5-10 minutes and then it was just all out fade. And but then we had some monumental shifts in the market. The market's always changing. It's
so
changing
wild.
fast.
It was like an
It's
hourly
like,
thing. It was like tariffs are going to destroy the economy. Then it was like the pause for 30 days. Then it was like they're having meetings. It was like watching the SPY. And like I came to the market like 7 p.m. last night. I'm like, what? The SPY is basically green? Like,
yeah.
what is this?
It's a lot of uncertainty, right? That's being reflected.
It's certain.
So,
It's certain that there's uncertainty.
but you know what? Show goes on. The gappers still exist. The market is still here. There's money to be made in one way or another.
Yeah,
Let's talk about it.
we'll just keep pushing. We got a couple gappers this morning. It is the 4th day of February, year of our Lord 2025. Looking for some Momo. You know, last night I was just trying to remind, because I feel like it's the same thing, right? Advice wise, it's like stay in your lane, be patient for your setups, blah blah blah. And I also tell that to myself because I do fall into the trap of being emotional, being bored, being frustrated that there's no plays, and it's like, you know, I was like, I've finished up my monthly stats for January, and I was like, you know, at some point in February, there's going to be a run of plays. There's going to be a week. There's going to be 3 days. There's going to be momentum. Like the odds favor there being something at some point. Just be ready. Just be ready. So that is what we're going to do. We're just going to keep on trucking. We're going to be here live for you guys. We're going to do our webinars. Me and Huddie got a webinar today at 11 a.m. for all the 4-leaf clovers out there. If you ever want access to those, head on over to clovertrain.io. Get yourself signed up. If you want massive discounts to 3-leaf or 4-leaf clover, those are saved and reserved for Bootcamp goers, and that's where you can get our absolute best discounts ever. So if you're interested in that, we do have an upcoming Bootcamp in LA, March 22nd through 24th. Also, information, link in the description, and check it out. If you have any questions, reach out to us. We'd be happy to answer them. We will be doing a raffle for a free ticket to the Bootcamp coming up probably next Wednesday. So join us tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern right here for free on YouTube. For Wine Wednesday that we do every week, and we'll talk more about that. Biggest gapper of the day is, let me make sure, it's back and forth between two. We're going to start with VLCN though. Okay, let's go there now. 1, 2, 3. Time travel. Volcan. I used to wear a lot of Volcom when I was a kid. When I got to high school,
Same.
I was at Catholic school for the first 8 years of my life, and we had to wear uniforms every day. So once I got to public high school, I was like, whoa. You guys can wear anything you want, and I used to get a lot of Volcom. Remember Pac Sun? Is that still a thing?
Yep. I bought a bathing suit from them the other day.
They got good bathing suits. That's a good one for them. But we got Volcan here, no relation. Auto manufacturer out of the United States with the 560K float. Good morning. They are the first all-electric power sports company producing high-quality off-road vehicles, based in Round Rock, Texas. So they're making like electric fun toys, right?
It's not good.
That sounds fun. I could see that being a decent little industry in the future. I'd buy like a electric jet ski, or like a side by side. What? That sounds crazy fast.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 30 minutes ago, they became the exclusive U.S. distributor of supersonic golf carts. I didn't mention that, but well, there's a lot of electric golf carts already out there, right? Like that's just normal, like lithium batteries and stuff. Um, okay, but they're the exclusive U.S. producer or distributor. High across the board here in terms of overall risk, offering ability to overhead supply to cash need. They have zero point 0.1 months of cash left. So this is kind of the opposite chart here. How do you feel looking at your dilution tracker on the historical outstanding shares of potential dilution? We don't have that thing where it's the same for the past few years. This one's a giant candle to the sky. And let's talk about it. What do they have?
They got some IPO warrants. They've got some ATMs. They've got they just got a bunch of warrants variously priced. They got some cashless warrants, which means that they have them from zero, but there's not very many. I mean, it's a really low float, so they don't really have the ability to dilute that much, at least from what I'm seeing. Usually they're restricted when your float's that low. That doesn't mean that the company, doesn't have like existing bag holders or selling pressure. It just means that it's kind of hard for them to really expand their float that much in the current market that they're in.
Yeah.
But with these kind of types of companies, like this is what I've kind of noticed from watching all these gappers. When you have like the vehicle makers or the plane makers or the boat makers, like that's just highly intensive on the capital side. You always gotta depreciate your assets, build new ones, create new things, innovate. So it does take a lot of capital. So whenever I see like an electric vehicle maker or any of this type of stuff and these cheap price ranges, I just think that like, oh wow, these companies are never going to be something.
Yeah.
Could be wrong, but it's tough.
The one thing I see is that really big ATM from October of last year, 100 million remaining on it. A lot of other stuff looks hard to read.
Yeah, and I don't really see a lot of big volume days between now and last year. So this could be, if the dates align, this could be their first opportunity to unleash some of that ATM from this PR, which is what I assume all these companies are trying to do, right? Like they're trying to make money by putting out frothy PRs to get everyone excited about whatever they're doing, and then truth is they just need to make some money.
Yeah, not one that splits in the past while. Maybe they did 2 months ago. They did one because it's really hard to see my daily chart. Let me see how closely I can get some of this resistance. So that resistance is kind of way out there. But in the relative close area, within like 100, 200%, there's not a ton of resistance. We've just been in the downtrend from way higher prices down towards the $2 area. Pretty wild, but not uncommon for stocks that we see like this. And now bouncing back right now up 100%, up in the high sixes. So no clear area on this chart where I'm like, oh, there's massive resistance up there. I think it's going to struggle. Not really a former runner as well. And pretty tiny float. 560K is nothing to scoff at when we've only done 6.5 million, but that is already one of the biggest daily candles that we've seen. I feel like recently a lot of what I say is I would never be bullish on. This kind of fits into the more of would not be surprised at all if this goes to 10 today. Very small float. They got okay news. It is what it is. It's in a good price range, I feel like, to make some noise with that size float. There's not a ton of resistance overhead.
But I think the main reason that you say it could go to 10 is just because there's not a lot of overhead resistance and it's a 500K float. So, you expect, the possibility of a lot of range and a wild move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Still,
it's not like, I love the news. Oh, it's a daily chart breakout. It's more of if I were to see a gapper make bigger moves than I expect, I feel like this is kind of a decent daily chart for it. It isn't a downtrend, but you got a recent reverse split, low float, and some volume. So, and I don't think there's anything really holding it down too much unless they decide to use any of their dilution. And then obviously the situation's completely different. That's why it's kind of fun looking at these gappers because no one truly knows unless you know inside information. You don't know why it went up. You don't know why it went down. You have ideas and we can draw comparisons, but that's VLCN. And the other reason I kind of wouldn't be shocked, it's not up 300, 400% already. It's only up in the 90s%. That I know seems like a lot if you're coming from a world in which you trade mid or large caps or something like that, but that is an everyday type of occurrence here in small cap, and it's not uncommon to see something up 100% go up another 100%. And so that is VLCN Vulcan electric off-road vehicles with golf cart news today. Kind of a warning, not a caution, as always. Just whenever you see sub 1 mil floats, these micro floats, just be aware. Be aware of it. You don't need to not trade it. I don't say Dominic told me not to trade it. But if you do have a plan, just make sure that it's easy to stick to. Make sure you're going to cut your losses. You're going to cover where you want to, sell where you want to. When you get these kind of low floats, I haven't taken a look at the spread or anything right now in pre-market. But sometimes it's a little difficult to follow your plan from a risk management perspective when you got stocks high flying and with lots of range. So that's VLCN this morning. One of the biggest gappers of the day right now is the biggest gapper of the day. Moving on along to the next one, which is AZTR, which is, as everyone knows, a Zetra, correct? A biotech company out of the United States with a float of 12.46 million. Biotech. Looks like yesterday at 9 a.m. they announced that they're going to present at the Bio CEO and Investor Conference. We should go to one of these conferences one time. Just see what it's all about.
Go. Let me know how it is.
See how it is. Get into the eye of the storm, See what's going on in the biotechs.
Love that.
So that's the news. Nothing special. They also presented, or they're going to present at the Microcap Conference. That sounds kind of fun. Okay, offering ability is low, overall risk is medium, cash need, they got 6 months of cash left. What do you see here? Anything sticking out to you in the dilution?
Yeah, they got some warrants at 70 cents. So I think that's kind of where the short gets kind of juicy on this one. If they can get it up to that 70-cent area and they have any kind of inclination on executing these 13 million shares that they have priced up there, I think that's kind of where you're going to find some overhead supply. It doesn't necessarily have to be right at 70 cents, but that's where they become in the money. And those are from July. So that's kind of a level that I would be aware of, as a short seller or as a long bias trader.
Yeah, important to know. That's kind of the cool thing. I always avoided fundamentals or any potential dilution in the filings for the longest time and just decided that it was easier for me to be ignorant about it versus kind of being afraid of everything. But having that information, you don't necessarily need to trade it in different. You can just add it as an extra layer of information. If a stock is struggling at what feels like an invisible level on the daily chart, maybe it's not as invisible. Maybe there's a reason that area could be used as resistance. Taking a look at the daily chart here, you have a move that went from 35 cents up to 65 cents a couple weeks ago, topping out before pulling back. Looks like something probably happened. Bad news. What happened? 114. Proposed public offering of common stock that led to that gap down, back down to its base down in the low 20-cent area, and now it's gapping back up into it. This is kind of, if I'm putting my trading tickers 1 and 2 hat on, feels kind of short into resistancy, where you have stock that recently set some level of resistance, failed pretty hard off of it, and now we're gapping up and potentially spiking into it. Although we are pulling back quite a bit right now off of those areas. And then just above that big daily resistance, you have that 70-cent area where the warrants are. So this, when we talk about differences, and if you're trying to figure out why we like some stock, why we're less bullish on some and more bullish on others, it comes down a lot to the fundamentals with the float, with the daily chart. And on the previous one, VLCN, there just wasn't a ton of resistance anywhere on the chart that should slow the stock down if it does become strong. Whereas AZTR, I do think there's more reason that it would find difficulty spiking through this 60 to 70 cent area for multiple reasons. Volume is kind of on its side so far this morning, almost at 100 mil already on the day, whereas this volume day got set on 32 mil. So it's always a kind of funny game. It's not necessarily apples to apples, where just because we have more volume today than we did on the day resistance was set, that it has to break or it doesn't have to break. But that's kind of the area that I'm looking at on this chart. As we go further back, probably
I remember
split.
I remember the gap and crap on this one from back in I can't even see the date because the sun is so in July. Yeah, I mean, I remember it being a super low float at the time. It closed weak, and then they did a nasty offering in the after hours, which sent it to the lows.
It looks like that's 2 for 2 now on recent runs that ended in an offering for it.
So that's why we're depressed at 52 cents. Meaning, we could be seeing a dead cat bounce here. It could go higher, but in the past they've done something kind of nasty to anyone that kind of bought that day. And so if you get offered on again, I'm not saying that they're going to, but if you get offered on again, like, wouldn't surprise me because they've done it before in the past.
Yeah, I'm a lot more likely to believe that this is going to struggle today, that this is going to have difficulty pushing higher. Obviously, a lot of things can change, and if this is doing 500, 600, 700 million shares, it's a different story, and it's holding up, and it's going higher, and it's absorbing it all. But out of the gate, kind of look at gappers with a blank sheet of paper, or a blanket approach over the top, and we just kind of have certain superstitions about them, what to expect. And it is not every day that we get massive runners in small cap land or with gappers. So it's nice to dissect these daily charts, go through the fundamentals, and see if there is a way to kind of get an understanding of which ones have better odds than others. But I think AZTR has a lot going against it when it comes to spiking big today. And because of everything we've talked about with that resistance, that 65 area is not an area that I look at and go, that's a breakout. It'd be up a lot into that area, as well as all the reasons why that should be pretty heavy resistance that we talked about earlier. All right. How's everyone doing today? I just got in here in the live chat. Looks like you guys were all talking. William says, did he miss the raffle? Not quite. Not quite. What are you guys saying? Not a lot of continuation. A lot of pops and drops. That has been the market these days. Someone says sound is cutting off. I have to assume that the sound is fine for most of you. Multiple people are saying sound is weird, but
I hear you fine. Is it me?
You sound fine to me, and you is just a reflection of what I hear. So, sound is good. All right, rock and roll. Any questions? Any tickers you guys have you want to bring up here? Only 29 likes right now. Do you like to get that number up towards 50? We appreciate that. Just a little bit of love for us. Showing up every morning, talking through the biggest gappers for you guys every morning. A lot of people chatting. Oh, someone says CYCN first red day. What do you think, Huddie?
I just hit the like button.
Nice, thank you.
I got you. CYCN. This is like a low float mushroom play, I think, from what I remember.
Silerion?
I mean, sure. Like, is it the most extended? Does it have the most range? Does it look like the most perfect chart? No. But like, if I really had to force myself to trade something, this would be the thing that I would force myself to like. I see a world where it goes down 20 cents and spikes back up 40 cents and closes at 480. Like I just don't see like a huge amount of range. I don't think it's going into the threes today. So it's going to be tough to make risk reward make a lot of sense. And it's just really not all that perfect. Like I'd much rather one more day and like open up the range, trade more volume, get higher, show some like exhaustion or some blow off move. Like that's the kind of stuff where I feel like all the shorts have been, kind of rinsed out, and it's just like longs that can have to panic now. That's kind of the sequence of events I'd want to happen here. Otherwise, I think this is just like a 2-day chart that, it could have a red day, it could have a consolidation day, it could be breaking out, into the next day, right? Like it could just hold these levels. I don't think it's all that extended or has that much hype or like exhaustion behind it either, right? The volume yesterday was lower than the previous day. That's not technically what we're looking for. And it's really only a 2-day run from 3 to 4. So I'd want more. I'd say that in my book, that's more of like there's nothing to trade. This is the only 2 day runner, so I'm going to get involved, and then I see myself getting squeezed or making no money from it. So for me, it'd be an ignore. I'm looking for something better.
Yeah, it's kind of tough. Continue.
Oh, I was just going to bring up another ticker.
I was going to say on this one, like when things aren't perfect in short selling land in terms of having extended stocks, it just makes it more difficult. You have to be that much more better with your risk reward. You can't risk as wide. You can't risk yesterday's highs because what are we getting out of it? We're down 10% right now, and pre-market was down in the 420s, which is like, are we expecting to get better than that? Where's the resistance? Where's the support from the previous 2 days? And we've only really had one afternoon of kind of a little bit of extension where we went from 5 to 6, but once we're sub 5, there's so many areas where the stock could hold, and I have pretty good numbers on the short side to wait for really obvious situations. If I have to force it, it's just not worth the trade. It's not worth a loss, and it's not worth the win usually because the win's not that great because it's not extended enough. And so I kind of agree. This would be the first red day. It's definitely red. It looks like it's most likely going to open red. But I will probably leave it alone just because I think waiting for better opportunities will yield better results on the short side.
Yeah, I think like if you're looking at a chart like REBN, again, I'm probably not trading that one either, but I think that one has a bit of a better look to it in terms of like it does have more extension. It's from the 2s to the 5s. It has an increase of volume into day 2, has wicked off the highs both times, which has not killed the stock. And now we're threatening a red-green move here in the morning. So, a trigger into the first red day. I just feel like from a visual standpoint, from a technical standpoint, I like that setup more. But I also don't want to just play a random low float. So that's kind of like my thing against it. I'm just waiting for like more real runners and more real like sustained volume. But I do like REBN more than CYCN if I had to compare the two. I just think it has a better, like it checks more boxes for me.
Yeah, kind of, again, as someone who primarily wants to be a long bias trader, like I only want to short when it feels easy, when it feels obvious. From a technical perspective, the stock hasn't been red in 2 or 3 days and is extended from the 2s to the 6s. But, my experienced brain looks at all these wicks and is like, what are we doing here? Stock continues higher every day, but probably has had some short stuck that think that every time it comes off of these big spikes that it's done and it's over, and it just keeps coming back. Kind of have big spikes and then sideways way off the highs into the close, and this morning we are really close to going red for the first time. So reborn coffee.
Also, pretty crazy runner in small cap right now. We do have IVVD that is running based off. I don't know if you guys know Martin Shkreli, kind of a scumbag on Twitter, who's done some weird things in life and has a bad reputation. But he's been pumping this one for a day now and had a nice run from 40 cents to $1.11, now gapping up to $1.28. So that's something that I would probably put on a watch list. Just big percent gainer trading, massive volume, super extended already. We'll be curious to see how that one also kind of figures itself out.
Yeah, you love to see it from the perspective of wanting daily chart patterns. So you like to see something that wasn't a giant gapper yesterday, come out of the depths, have a nice strong day up from the 30-cent area to $1, now continuing higher today. Pretty nice gapper overnight as well for those who trade that strategy. Yeah, keep an eye on that one. Hopefully it continues higher. That would be just absolutely perfect. Even these days, just getting 2 big green days in a row is tough. So nice eye there, Mr. Huddie. All right, it is 9:20. Like I said, we got a webinar today at 11 a.m. with myself and Huddie. So bring your questions. We're going to have a good time over there. Had a great time with you guys this morning. We'll be live again tomorrow at 9:15 a.m. Kyle will join us. We'll do a little bit of live trading. So if you're new around here, that is the schedule, 8:45 a.m. most days, and then 9:15 on Wednesday mornings. We'll have Wine Wednesday tomorrow as well. So we will see you guys all there. Thank you for hitting the thumbs up button. Thank you for being here with us. Every day the market is open. We hope you have a great start to your February. And we will see you guys tomorrow, and we'll see all you Clovers right now. Have a wonderful day, everybody.